September 2009, Typhoon Ketsana slams Vietnam. Dozens are dead and missing. Vietnam's weather has become wildly unpredictable, and scientists say they know why.
Climate change already impact Vietnam. Yeah, very strong impact to Vietnam.
Dr. Tran Tuc of Vietnam's Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment.
More typhoons with high intensity have occurred during the last few years. Every year, many people has been killed by natural disaster.
Those disasters are often caused far to the north of Vietnam, where global warming is melting glaciers. The result, rising sea levels along Vietnam's 3,500-kilometer coastline. Low-lying agricultural areas like Quang Tri province are experiencing unprecedented flooding. Everything changed here 10 years ago when a sudden flood enveloped hundreds of homes, killing 600 people.
Everything we had, the flood destroyed, the rice was destroyed, the pigs died, the ducks and the chickens died, all of them, everything we had.
50-year-old Lan Nguyen and her husband Phi are farmers. Married for 30 years, they have 2 children at home. They say climate change has transformed their lives.
We are affected because the crops are not enough to feed the family.
Today, Vietnam grows enough crops to feed its 87 million people. In fact, its abundant rice exports have earned it the title of Asia's rice basket. But if sea levels rise as much as 1 meter, 40% of the fertile Mekong Delta in the south will be underwater.
If the sea level rise, rice production in the Mekong Delta will be reduced significantly.
Another cruel fact of global warming is that lack of water also plagues farmers. In the past 50 years, Vietnam's average temperature has climbed 1/2 degree Celsius. That seemingly small change causes big weather extremes, more floods in the rainy season and severe droughts in the dry season. Crops often don't survive.
This harvest season, sometimes the rice stalks did not open. That's because the climate is too dry.
No longer able to count on his crops, Phi leaves his home for 2 months a year to work in construction.
If I stay home, there wouldn't be any money to pay for the children to go to school or for household expenses.
Phi's long absences are hard on his wife Lan. All the chores and responsibilities fall on her shoulders.
When he's not home, for me to farm the rice field on my own is terribly difficult. I'm out working all the time.
Farmers aren't the only ones feeling the burden of erratic weather. Fishermen too have been affected. More intense storms means less time at sea.
We fishermen have a more difficult time making a living. We are not making as much as we used to.
Loi Thao says he can only fish on sunny days, and when he can cast his net, there are fewer fish to catch.
These days, with the climate changes, the water is much too hot. The fish have moved very far away. I cannot catch them.
So Loi spends many hours a day idle. It is left to his wife, 41-year-old Tien Phan, to make up the shortfall in the family's budget.
If I don't work, how will I feed my children?
Tien and her 70-year-old mother sell homemade fish sauce at the market, where so many of Quang Tri's women earn some extra cash. But Tien says her customers are suffering and have less money to spend.
With the recent flood, the rice was destroyed. The other families eat less, and so we also make less.
Her income is half of what it used to be. So she, like Lan, is forced to work morning to night. while caring for her 3 children, a 4-year-old daughter and 2 sons, one 12, the other 16.
I work all day, work very hard all day. I go from one task to another. There's hardly time to rest.
While everyone in Quang Tri is affected by hotter, more unpredictable weather, it is clear who bears the greatest burden.
Of course, women are more affected than men. It's miserable. We have to worry about everything.
Women are certainly bearing the disproportionate burden of climate change.
Bruce Campbell, the United Nations Population Fund's representative in Vietnam, says that women's experience with the problems of global warming gives them unique insights into possible solutions.
Women have the most first-hand knowledge and experience in dealing and adapting to poverty and climate change. And therefore, we must bring their wisdom to the table.
And that, he says, is not yet happening. Not in Vietnam, not on the world stage.
Women are also being not entirely left out, but certainly not represented in the dialogue as firmly as they should be.
As negotiations to find a global solution to climate change continue, Quang Tri is preparing for the storms that are inevitable. Many homes, like lands, have raised lofts, a refuge for provisions and children when the waters rise. Villagers carry out evacuation drills, store emergency supplies, do medical training. But unless global solutions to the local challenges of climate change are found, Vietnam, a country that has overcome so much, could see all its progress evaporate.